So hey guys, welcome back to another video. On the today we are doing the log4j room from TryHackMe created by John Hammond. So let's start the mission. Um, this room is on log4j based on Apache Solr running on December 9, 2021. The world has made a new aware of the vulnerability of log4j affecting Java login. This vulnerability earned a severity score around 10 on 10 and offers the remote code execution. Today, log4j 2016 available and patches the vulnerability. JNDI is fully disabled. Support for message lookups is removed, and the new DOS vulnerability CE 2021 45046 is not present. However, the sheer danger of this vulnerability is due to the how ubiquitous and the logging package is. Millions of this application is software use this package and the dependency in their own code. While you may be able to attach this on your own code base using log4j, the other vendors and the manufacturer will still need to push their own security updates that downstream. Many securities have linked the vulnerability to the shell shock by the nature of its enormous attack surface. We will come in the years. So let's start with the IP. So I have basically completed this mission of the camera, and for this IP address to scan, we need to scan the whole all the ports, like 65,000, all of them. It will take quite a long time if you do it on the camera. So I scanned the nmap, and I will show you what I got in the nmap. So while I scanned, I got 2022 SSH open and 111 RC bind and 8983 Apache Solr. This was the main, and here is the what we need to do with this address. So 89383 is opened with Apache Solr. So that will you get when you scan yourself with this command. If you run t4 e/t4p, that means all the ports will be scanned, and you put the IP address of the nmap. It will scan this address. So scanning this will take quite a long time. If you yes, the host is down. Oh my bad, I didn't even connect with I didn't even connect. So let me first clear this folders. Let me connect to the open VPN first. And obviously it needs to be run on sudo. Now if you scan what I said earlier, dash a dash b dash p, then you put the address. So when you do this will take quite a long time. If you want it, you can do it. So I won't do it as I've done earlier. You will get this much. So when you scan off that, you will get to know it's running on Apache Solr. This is the answer for the first one. This target machine is running Apache Solr 11. One example of its software that is known for the vulnerable log4j package. For the sake of the showcasing of this vulnerability, the application runs on Java 1.80. Forgot to tell, to complete this mission, you need this Java version. It's you cannot have a latest Java running on your mission. You need this Java. I will tell when you need this. I will show you along the way and how I faced few problems while doing that one. Explore the web interface accessible at this IP address. So here is the IP address and with the port number where the Apache Solr is running. Now this is a admin dashboard of the Apache Solr that's running on the IP address, and click around to get feel for the application. For more details on Apache Solr, please refer to the official website of the Apache Solr. This instance of Apache Solr is provisioned with no data whatsoever. It's a flat vanilla absolute minimum installation. At its core, it's still vulnerable for the log4j. take a close look at the first page while visible for navigating with this. You should be able to see a clear indicator that the log4j in use within this application for logging activity. What is the dsolr.log.dir argument is set to be displayed on the front page. So I will just download this Solr. Yeah, here is the log. So when you open the log, you will see multiple entries with the same thing, same path. So let's continue of what we need. Taking a close look at the first page of the vulnerability, you should be able to see clear indicator that log4j is within use of this activity. What's the dsolr.log argument is set to be displayed on. So when you go here and search for the log, yeah, search for the log, you can see dsolr.log directory. It's within var solr.logs. So just paste it. Download the attached files accessible in the top right of the task. See examples within the Solr. Explore each file if I just get feel for what it is displayed. So I have downloaded it. Once the file has an insignificant number of infos entries showing repeated request to specific URL endpoint, which file includes the contents a repeated entry. So as you can see, the solr.logs file has a number of repeated entries. This was the second thing. The solr.logs. What path or URL endpoint is indicated to the repeated entries? So it's indicating to the path is admin.course. Viewing this log entries, what field name indicates same data enter points that you are used to could control. Just the field name. The field name which a user can control is against the parameters, which are empty here. In all of them, the parameters are empty. Only here you can see the ID has been given the user ID. I guess that will be the user ID. Probably, I don't know. I'm not sure. So I guess the params are the control. Here are as parameters. Yeah. Now the proofs of concept. Note that the URL endpoint that we have just uncovered ends with the prefix with this Solr prefix when viewing it from the web interface. So now that I know that there's a path related to that, let's go and see what is there. So as you can see, nothing is here, but this will be very useful later on. You notice that parameters seems to be included in the log file. At this point, you may be already beginning to see the attack vector. Log4j package that adds some extra logic to the logs by passing entries ultimately to enrich the data, but maybe additionally take actions and evaluate the code based on the entries. This is the gist of CV 2021 228. Other syntax might be in the fact of execute, just enter it into the logs. Some examples of this syntax are. So this is not just a one syntax in the environmental variable. You can change a multiple different options of you can change. So there is quite a variety you can try on each with. You may already know the general payload to update the log4j vulnerability. The format of unusual syntax that takes on advantage that looks like this. So the formal and the syntax for the log4j vulnerability is this one: JNDI LDAP attacker control. But this is not just a only one type of attack. There's a lot of different ways you can execute the same command in a variety of variations with. We'll come to that later part of this. This syntax indicates that the log4j will invoke functionality JNDI or Java naming director interface. Ultimately, this can be used to access external source or reference which cannot be weaponized attack. Notice the LDAP schema. This indicates that the target will reach out to an endpoint and attacker control location in this case of attack via LDAP protocol. For the sake of brevity, we will not later cover all ins and outs of this details of LDAP here. But notice that something we need to cover with when we refine our attack. For now, that the target is well in fact make a connection to an external location. This is an indication of the attacker controlled host. That's IP address. Basically, we get a placeholder in the above syntax. You will act as the attacker in this scenario. Can simply listen to the connection. The next question is where you could enter the syntax. Anywhere that has data logged by the application. This is a cruise office vulnerability. Unfortunately, it's very hard to determine where the attack surface is for different applications and ergonomics of the what application are in fact vulnerable. Simply seeing the presence of the log4j doesn't clue the exact version number or even where or how the application might be using this package. Think back to the previous task. You already discovered that you could simply supply parameters which were empty in these logs here. These were the parameters to the solar.admin course URL. And now that you have a better understanding of how log4j works, you should be able to understand that this will supply your engine syntax. You can simply supply HTTP get variables or parameters which will proceed past to the log4j. All it takes is a single line of text and make this vulnerability extremely easy to exploit. Other location you can maybe supply GNDI syntax is input boxes where the password points within application. HTTP headers such as user agent or x41. So when you get a logs or empty parameters like this, you can use this command which is a traditional log4j attacker control syntax, so that you can try out whenever you get a opening like this. I mean, where is it? Yeah, like this. Whenever you get a opening like this, you can use a GNDI IP address show. To prepare the environment for testing this vulnerability and receiving connection, view an attacking machine IP address for the following command. So IPEDDR, the TUN0, which is the VPN address, is what you need. That is, we have got that one. Next one, prepare a netcat listener on any port using. We will choose the default 999 which is given here as it is, so that will be open. Now that you have a listener staged, make a request including the primitive GNDI payload syntax with HTTP. This can be easily done with the command utility. So we'll paste. So we'll just change the address to our servers. By this we should get a connection over here. Let's see. Yeah, this is the first stage, and this shell is not yet properly connected, so let's come to it later. Note, due to the use of $sign character in your syntax, you must have ensured that the wrap of URL within the single quotes to bash. Your command line shell does not interpret as a variable. Additionally, you must escape out of the curly braces within the single bash character, so that there is no misinterpreted curly commands out there. Verify that you have got the connection listener. We have got that here. The netcat connection has been received. The netcat. Complete that one. Now to the next one. At this point, you have verified the target in fact is vulnerable by sending and caught your netcat listener. However, it's made that LDAP request. So all your netcat listener may have see a non-printable characters, which is this. We cannot do anything. It's just like that. We can build upon the foundation of the responder real LDAP handler. We will utilize open source public utility to stage an LDAP referral server. This will be used as an essential to redirect the initial request of the victim to another location where you can host a secondary payload that will ultimately run the code on the target. This will break down like so. So we will have a middle agent between the Apache Solr server and our remote attacking server. There will be a middleman like we can say like a springboard LDAP referral server which will communicate between these two. So we'll do that. This command out there reaches out the LDAP referral server. LDAP referral server will redirect it to our local host. The victim retrieves and execute the code present, which is the exploit received from our local host. This means that we'll need an HTTP server which could be simply serving on port 8000. If you get any stuck on this, okay. Read and understand the chain above. We have completed that. In first order of the business. However, obtaining LDAP referral server will use Marshall set. This is a GitHub repository over here. You can just go and clone it up like this. Go git clone. Just clone it. You can do it. I have already done that one. Ultimately, this needs to run Java. Reviewing the readme of this utility, it suggests on using Java 8. You may be not have a success using different version, but to play by the rules, we will match the same exact version of the Java on the target virtual machine. So from here on, to run this exploit, you need a particular version of Java, which is been given, I guess, here. So to continue from here, you probably need an exact version of this version of Java JDK. You can download it from here. I have pretty much downloaded this stuff already. So if you know to set up the Java JDK, you can do that, but I will put a link down in the description of a video where you can refer and complete using the Java. And after that, you need to set your Java home variable. And well as you should have seen your JDK downloaded, and when you set up it properly, you should see here, and you complete and go with Java-2 version. You should see this particular version, exact version of this, to run the Java code. And even Java.c, this Java also should be there in the same exact version as this. So when you all three needs to be exactly same. After that, you need to download the Marshall sec from the GitHub repository. When you have completed that, after that, move to your Marshall sec repo where you have been downloaded it. So I have downloaded in my log4j directory, and here it is, Marshall sec. I have given the executable permission, but that's completely unnecessary. I have made a mistake there. You don't need to give any execution permission for the Marshall sec directory. Just cd to Marshall sec and install this particular tool. So I have to install Maven. I have installed it already. After that, you need another command, that is nvn clean package disk. This command particularly needs to be run in Marshall sec directory itself. If you run it from the home directory, it won't work properly. The Marshall sec won't work properly. So you need to run this particular command over here itself. I have done this already, so I'm gonna stop this also. You will need to complete that also. Works for free user doesn't mean to do this. Only when you are doing this room in your host machine, you need to do that. So when you all completed this necessary steps of installing Java, Maven, and Marshall sec utility, you can continue from here onwards. Java CP tool, our LDAP referral server, that's need to be run. I will just clean this all stuff so that it will be nicer. We will run this command over here. This is a Java LDAP referral server command, and we're gonna paste our IP address over here. IP-EDI. This is our IP address. I'll just copy paste it, and I remove the 16 subnet there. Yeah, that's now. Oh my god, I didn't even run it from Marshall sec. You need to run this command on the directory itself. Marshall sec. Now we can run the command. Should listen on the 1389 port number. And is the IP address for your attacking machine as you need it. Note that it will be supplied the HTTP port listening on 8000. What's the command output you got? We got listening on 1389. Now that our LDAP server is ready for waiting, we can open the second terminal window and prepare for our final payload, the secondary HTTP. Ultimately, the log4j vulnerability will execute the arbitrary code that will craft with Java programming language. If you are familiar with the Java, don't feel we will use simple syntax that is shell outs of to remaining a system command. In fact, we will retrieve a reverse shell connection so we can gain control over the target machine. Create and move into a new directory where you might host this payload. First, create your own payload in a text editor of your choice with a mousepad. So now that we need an exploit, so I have finished doing that too. So we'll exploit this one. So as you can see, this is a very simple, just like a one-line Java program. Here we get a runtime execution, and we'll just execute this one single line. That's it. This whole program is just made just to execute this one single line, and all we need is to change your IP address here and put the IP address which is available over here in your machine. The VPN which you're connected, that IP address need to be placed here. That's it. This is our exploit. So when you complete it, after that you need to compile the Java code. That is 1 minute. I was spelling wrong. Particularly, we need to compile with the exact version of the Java. I have trained in a different version, but I ran into a numerous error when you run with a different version of Java. Yeah. Particularly, we need to run with the exact same Java version. So after you compile our Java code, next we need to run the Python server out here, which will act as the middleman. So that will do our job. Completed. Modify your attacker IP address and port number as appropriate. We are using 999 as the example port number. For this payload, you can see we'll execute a command on the target, specifically on netcat ebinbash to call back our attacker machine. This target has been configured with a netcat for ease of exploitation through more than welcome to experiment with other payload. So here in our code, in this exact execute command, we just run into a netcat. But for your reference, you can do various other, like if you are in Windows, like you can run on calculator.exe or any other thing. If you want to execute any other thing, you can do with that. You can play around this thing. Basically, compile this code. Yeah, we have done that. We ran the HTTP server with the payload created and compiled. You can host your temporary HTTP server. So you should see something like this when you on your local host 8000, I guess is the port number. Yeah, on your local host you need to see exploit.class so that to continue. Your payload is created and compiled. It is hosted with a HTTP server in one terminal. Your LDAP referral server is up and waiting for another terminal. Next, prepare a netcat listener to catch up your reverse shell in another new terminal. So now that we will do that one. So HTTP is listening and netcat is on, and escape middleman LDAP referral server is also on. Finally, all that left to do is trigger the exploit and fire a GNDI syntax. Note that the changes of the port number and attacker ID, IP address, the resources we retrieve specifically to our exploit. So this is our exploit over here. So we'll just change the IP address. Oh, I forgot my IP address. So it's 10.9.129.133. Yeah. If everything goes well, this should do our job. We just change it to class so that you get to know that is a preferred class, not that it goes into a Java file. So we'll hit here. Now that everything goes perfectly right, you should get the connection from the Apache Solr. Now that you're into our mission, when you run who am I, you will get a Solr, that is the user. You have now received the initial access and the command and control on the vanilla freshly installed Apache Solr instance. This is just one example of many vulnerable applications affected by the log4j vulnerability. At this point, a threat actor can realistically do whatever they would like to on the victim, whether it is a previous escalation, exfiltration, install persistence, perform lateral movement for any other exploitation, potentially dropping cryptocurrency miners and remote access trojans, beacons and implants, everything, deploying ransomware. And all it took was a single string of text and a little bit of setup with a freely available tooling. This is precisely why the internet has been on fire during the weekend of the 9th December 2021. Please hug any incident reporters that you know. If any incident responders are watching this video, please leave a comment right now so that I can get to know how many of them are watching right now. After receiving a reverse shell, feel free to experiment with other commands you could run with your exploit.java payload. As an exercise for the reader, you can get a Meterpreter shell loaded. How about an Empire agent or Cobalt Strike beacon? So you can play a lot around this when you got a reverse shell. So if you don't do ls, I can't do anything right now. We need a stable shell for that. Now let's make it a stable shell. Now that you have gained reverse shell connection in the victim machine, now you can do a take any action. To better understand its log4j vulnerability, you can grant yourself better access so we can explore the machine and analyze the affected logs and even mitigate the vulnerability. You may have noticed that either nmap scan SSH port was open on the host. We didn't know any username and the password at this point, so triggering a protocol would be useless. But now that you have code execution as a user, you could potentially add private keys and change password. So when you run OMI, we got Solr, which is here. We ran it before. So if you would like to stabilize your shell for a ease of typing, you can use this upgrade trick. Assuming the bash shell, if you are running within ZSH, you can use the started netcat installation on the bash subshell. It should be easy enough to re-exploit. So this command will give us a stable shell. Not this command, but we'll do it. Now here it goes. Now that we have entered Control Z and it stopped, we do FG and we type export term is equal to x term. Now that we have this one, we can probably do it. This we can do a proper shell we can get. If you would like to grant users web resistance and access via SSH, momentarily become root and change the password of the Solr user and one choosing this way you can SSH as needed. So I always prefer doing it in SSH rather than running into the shell. So let's take the password of Solr. Enter new password. I will put just Solr. It's a great password. Always you need to try that. Now that we have changed the password, do it. So that the IP address. Copy and we'll paste it. Yes, LR is the password. Yeah, we have a SSH connected to. Completed this. Now that we have been entered the machine, let's detect it and patch the program. Detecting exploitation may be even harder considering the unlimited amount of potential bypass. With that said, the information security community has been incredibly outpouring of an effort and support to develop tool scripting and other constraint this time. While they won't showcase every technique in detail, you can find an enormous amount of resources below the snippet that might help. So there are a lot of other articles and tools that have been all published. One of the tools were the log4j detector by, I don't know who was the. I will put a link down in the description so that you can check if there's any app or any application that's running which have a log4j. You can be safe from that one. To explore log4j, you won't use SSH connection or a shell to move into a directory Solr log store. You know already. Now that we have SSH, let's go and find the log which we find out here. Let's find this log on the SSH connection so that we can remove the traces over there. cd ls cd1 slash okay Solr there logs. Here is the log, so we can get a better view and also log. So now that we have opened it, let's see our entries here from our IP address. As you can see, I'll just open it in a single line so it's better readable. So here you can see this is our entry made up here after this thing, after the default admin slash course. These are the last 4 or 5 years. These are our entries so that you can see what we used. GNDI and our IP address is here. We see the review the log that you have been affected by the log4j vulnerability. We have done that. Notice the GNDI attack syntax used in the log entries. If you would like to experiment more, try some times to bypass the task mentioned below. So now the bypass thing. The GNDI payload that we have showcased in the standard typical syntax for performing these attacks. If you are penetration tester or red teamer, this syntax might be called by a firewall or easily detected. If you're a blue teamer, the incident responder, you should be actively hunting for this syntax. Because this attack leverages log4j payload, you can ultimately access all the same expansion, substitution, and templating tricks the package makes available. This means that the threat actor could use any sort of tricks to hide or mask or obfuscate the payload. With that meant, there are honestly unlimited number of bypasses sneak in this syntax. While you cannot have dive it all in details exercise, you can encourage to play with an environment, read them carefully. So here are the alternatives for the default syntax. As you can see, RMI is here, RMI protocol, that is the last one, this one, not just this one, so that where was that? Yeah, so that you can't only use this default syntax. You can use a variety of syntaxes to bypass the firewall with this GNDI vulnerability. There's your environmental variable one, and yeah, there's literally unlimited number of variety of payload you can use. This is also another valid technique that can be used with the marshal set utility. Feel free to experiment. Additionally, with the log4j engine, you can expand arbitrary environment variable. If this wasn't already bad enough, consider damage that could be done with a remote code execution, but simply LDAP connection is exfiltration with the env access key. For other techniques, you should strongly encourage to your own research. There's significant amount of information being shared in the Reddit thread. So if you want to know more about this bypass thing, you can follow this thread over here. This thread has literally all the things you need in the JNDI. You can see about the different articles, the mitigation related, the script tools, and literally everything you need about this vulnerability is here in this thread. And the mitigation, now that you have acted as an advisory for a little bit, please take off your hacker hat and let's mitigate the vulnerability on the vulnerable machine and mitigate the techniques suggested on the Apache Solr website. So there have been quite a few mitigation techniques that have been given by the Apache Solr itself. So here it is, log4j. Yeah, under mitigation, you can see that they have been given quite a few updates and manually update the log4j in the runtime class path, so that edit your solr.in.ish file include, and this command edit your solr.cmd file to include this, follow any other mitigation regarding to this. So as you can see, they have given quite a few commands to edit in this. So we'll just locate and make that changes, see if that works. And make it as usual how it was before. Yeah. As you can see, that file is here. This file technically needs to help us in mitigating and patching this vulnerability. So as you can see, we have the file. This command in this. Okay, I guess I need to put in an nano, but I haven't captured. So when you're doing this, it should save it. Yeah, save the path of the file. The path of the file is here, etc/default/ message. Yeah. Modify the solr.message which have been done. The text editor of your choice. We have completed that. Now that your configuration file has been modified, the service still needs to be restarted for the change to take effect. So this process may vary in the installation, but for this service you can restart with the service settings. So let's restart and see what will happen. Completed. To validate the patch has been taken, please start another netcat listener as you have done before, and the LDAP referral server and HTTP. You can recreate the same setup to re-exploit the machine. Scroll up to the task file. Okay. Now we have to do everything literally from the start. So let's rerun everything. And we'll close even this. We'll clear. And where is the curl command? In exploitation we need to have the curl command. Here it is. And just technically close this. But I will open new. So okay, I will open another NVLP999. That's better. So by this patch the Apache Solr, the LDAP server should not get any connection back. So let's try it. The request has been sent. As you can see, we didn't got any connection from the LDAP referral server. If that's so, our patch has been worked properly and that has been completed mitigation. At that point, at its time, creating this exercise of Apache Solr 8.11.1.1 has not been released with a formal patch of CVE. Alongside many other software providers, the industry has been primarily scrambling to patch the software pushed on the downstream and to the end user as they can. Please be understanding the frenzy. There are so many potential places the log4j vulnerability could be present. We may never see the end of this vulnerability at long time. On the honors of this, you may need each and every one of us to raise awareness of this incident and hold the community accountable for the actively responding. When the time comes, the rollout the patches have been made available continuous for the instance. When appropriate, please ensure you have patched the log4j package to this version or higher. In this version, JNDI is fully disabled. Support for message lookups is been removed, and the new DOS vulnerability CVE is not been present. Download this to take. If you are responsible for identifying this vulnerable service that uses log4j, there's a list of few majorly affected products and services. Typically, endless amount of products that have been affected with the log4j. Credit and authors note. Thanks for clicking all the way to the end and sincerely hope on the side parting words. This exercise borders with you the wholehearted intent that improves the awareness and learning understandability of this vulnerability. The materials presented to you could not be possible without the incredible contribution from the security researchers, incident responder, and system admins and security practitioners all through the industry. We owe you an incredible thank you for the professional honor of working sleeps and night for clock forging the weekend and time with your friends and family to protect the internet. While Hollywood hacking is cool and flashy, cybersecurity is a team sport. Please review the external sources and making the community better, please. Go do a great things. That's it. We have completed the log4j room created by John Hammond on TryHackMe. That's it. If anything has any doubts or any regarding to this room, please free to DM me on my Twitter account that have been shared in the description. Yeah, that's it. Have a nice day. Leave a like.